Well, howdy, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday Live. I'm really excited to have today's guest. It's somebody we've never had on the show before. We have Jack from Black Scout Survival, and of course, John Willis from Special Operations Equipment. I'm Nicole Sauce from Living Free in Tennessee. Guys, if you've got questions for Jack today, I recommend you get them in there as fast as you can, all caps, so that I see them, because he's only got half an hour with us. So we're gonna bang out some survival topics and then transition into whatever you want to talk about. But really excited to have Jack on. For those who don't know who you are, though, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and how you ended up today on this live stream for a Wednesday right before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think 2012 it was. Me and some friends got together, started Black Scout Survival, and initially we were just a product company. Okay, so we started with just product sales, and we were really trying to move towards government stuff. And so, in the beginning days, we did a lot of government contract stuff. For primarily like escape and evasion tools and escape and recovery kits and things like that. One day, my partner said, "Man, we should make YouTube videos demonstrating that." And I never really wanted to be on YouTube. I never really wanted to show my face to the public, but we did it, and the channel kind of blew up from there. And we kind of just grew from there, making survival content, instructional content. We've moved lately to political stuff since 2020, the elections, the coup, and all that sort of stuff, because we had gotten, like, I did one video on the coup, and we got hit for it, right? Strike immediately. And it kind of, I was like, why are they, trying to censor this? And so kind of just like fueled the fire and led us down that route. We still do our mainstay content every week, but we also have these additional videos discussing current events. And I mean, honestly, with the state of the world, the current events thing is really survival as well.
So how do you think survival relates to dealing with the current turbulence we have?
Well, just because it's unknown, and I think, anybody who's ever been in a survival situation it's an unknown situation. Gathering information to help you make the best decisions on what you're doing, maybe prepping, networking, those sort of things. And the other thing is that, like, our ancestors had an innate ability for survival, whereas I guess, we've lost that because we've got Facebook, internet, Google, these sort of things. And so I think providing, the means to get back that kind of mindset, the tribal mindset, is, pretty necessary in today's time.
Yeah. Hey, John, what's that hoodie you got on? Is that new?
No, this is old. I'm actually we've been recording all morning out in the other building, and when we walked out, it was actually cold. So I'm out here in the garage now, and it's just chilly out here.
I got you.
So you do a live video not every night, but several nights a week, right? What's your target time for that?
Usually midnight Eastern Standard Time. I try to do it like earlier, but I guess people are still with their family, like across the different areas of the country and stuff like that. Midnight seems to be because we do have a good amount watching at midnight, but we also have a lot of guys and girls who work, nursing or whatever, third shift, and they're taking a break. And then guys going to work, they'll listen, because most of it's almost like a podcast. You say you just can listen. It's not really something you need to see. Now we will show like clips of things and stuff like that, but mostly it's just talking about the current events. We really try to target things that are not necessary. Now, sometimes we do, but a lot of what we try to do is talk about things that are not like mainstream news, or we try to go back and get other information that may not be out there, just mainly because it interests me, because like there's been things that I go research and I'm like, wow, I didn't see this, and then you get called a conspiracy theorist and all those sort of things. But yeah.
So you're totally a conspiracy theorist. Totally.
I catch a lot of them because of that time, right? It's a little bit earlier here. Because I do mine at 9 o'clock, and then when I get off, Marfugal's usually on, and then about the time Marfugal's stuff is ending, yours is on, because I'm usually doing emails and stuff late at night, so that's just kind of playing in the background.
But I think a lot of people,
yeah,
I think a lot of people do that. They'll watch, yours, another guy, and then it's kind of like And it's funny though, because a lot of things like I'll plan my notes like before, and then I'll watch yours, and like you're talking about some of the same things. It's like
Always, yeah.
me and John's on the same wavelength. Like we're talking to each other without talking to each other.
Yeah, I pick up a lot of stuff that kind of wasn't on my radar. Also, you do a lot more research than I do. I kind of just hear things through the day, and then I'm all over the place. Whereas yours is definitely better produced for sure.
Yeah, I try to do that. It's hard though, because there's like so much going on. I was talking about last night. Like, man, if I would have watched my own video 5 years ago, like, there's no way this is real life.
Right. Yeah, that seems to be the quickening, though. It seems to it's and we're going to say that next year. We're going to look back at this year and go,
holy fast forward button.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, have you found it harder to find information since the 2020 like acceleration, and what are you doing to get around that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing that struck me the most. Like, I'll take a second just to kind of talk about that. What really led me? I'll be honest, maybe I was a sheep as well, just like everybody else. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't care about politics, any of that kind of stuff at all. Never, just was not on my radar. I worried about myself, what I was doing. Until one day during the pandemic and if I say any like keywords, just go ahead and stop me if I say
Doesn't
something.
bother me for my channel. If I get a strike, I don't care.
Okay.
John, do you care?
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
over it
on my channel, but I don't want to get anybody else's channel in trouble. But yeah, during the pandemic, one day, I was watching. I think I was eating breakfast or something, and Trump was giving a speech about the measures he was taking. He finished his speech, goes to MSNBC, and I'm sorry, not just regular NBC, and they're saying completely opposite of what he said, and they're like making it out like he was not really trying to do anything. And I was like, that's not what he said. Like, they were putting words in his mouth and changing, kind of like the tone. And I said, that's not what he said. That day is the day I said, maybe they're lying to us. And I started I look at everything. So everything that I see, like I always say this on my channel, is like, you need to always ask why you're being told something. Like, there's a reason why you're being told, And so that's whenever I learned that the media is for the most part, always trying to cultivate a narrative. And so like, I'll go through alternate means like DuckDuckGo. There's some other people I follow that are, they're journalists that get news, like unbiased news. And then I actually have a lot of people who follow me from various places around the globe that will send me like their news from their area. Like when the Hunter Biden laptop came out, it was actually circling across the globe, like video footage and photos from the laptop. And I did a video on it a week prior to the election, and I got a strike for it. They said it was terrorism and that it was not true. It turns out it was all true, but the thing is that it's good that I have a lot of followers that will send me information like that. I do appreciate that, because it does help me, and it'll kind of help me, look in certain past. I'll also go back and look at things in history, and I say history, I'm talking about maybe even the 80s or 90s, and how something kind of paved the way for what's happening now.
Yeah, I feel like Japan in the early 90s right now.
Yeah.
It looks very similar here. It just, besides the obvious older examples, I try to look at something a little less extreme than, mass genocidal events, to try to balance myself when I'm looking at what decisions to make, because I can't assume that we're just going to kill everybody around us, as a society. It might happen. John's like, but we might. Yes, you have to be ready for that.
You might be witnessing it right now in the last 2 years. I mean, what's the new movie that's out right now on Netflix? You can watch it for free on Rumble. It's called They Died or something like that. It just came out 2 days ago.
Died suddenly.
Died suddenly. I saw that advertisement the other day.
Are you noticing? I woke up the other morning and had 5 videos removed. I didn't get any strikes, but they removed them all for disinformation. And now when they remove them, it shows you the title, but when you click on them, you can't even view them because they removed them.
Yeah.
So it's all ramping up again. In the next 24 months, you're going to see it's going to be even crazier. They're just pulling stuff down. And these were all videos that I'd put up that were up between 1 year and 2 years ago, but they removed them all for disinformation. And when you click on them, you can't view them.
Isn't it wild that they go back like that? Like they'll go to a video 2 or 3 years ago and hit you. You know, it's crazy.
Yep. The other thing they're doing when we put videos up, they'll only partially monetize. If we ask for review, every time we've asked for a review, they fully monetize it, but it's out of the feed at that point.
Yeah, at that time, none of your people got to see it, and it can't be shared. You know.
Yeah. So we've got it all set up. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead. I got a delay, so.
We have it all set up to where it auto-populates to Rumble. So whatever gets pulled, it's still on Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that as well. You know, once I broke 100,000 followers a few years ago, you know, you get given special things. Like I had a YouTube manager, and so I had him for a while, and he actually quit and went to Facebook. He was cool. Like I could call him. He would call me on cell phone. I mean, he was a good guy. And then I applied to get another one last year, and I got denied. They said that they would not give me one. So I did something. I circumvented the system, and I went in there. They sent out an email about shorts. And so the shorts community was a new community going on, and basically it's to fight TikTok.
Yeah.
And so I was one of the guys they selected for shorts. So I told my partner, I was like, hey, let's go film a bunch of shorts. Let's try it. I said, because I think it's going to be on a different algorithm than the videos. And so sure enough, I talked to the lady that's like in charge of the shorts, and she goes, yeah, it's not on the same algorithm. So we was getting a lot of views on the shorts. Well, now it's under the same algorithm, so it's like plummeted. But during this time, because I was in the shorts community, they sent out a email. And now I think all creators have it at this point in time, but it was like you can select your gender and all this sort of stuff. And so I selected the most oppressive gender and sexual orientation, and I immediately got a YouTube manager like that.
So you figured out the game. Excellent.
Yeah.
You know how to play the game.
Now you have to do video with him, and the lady was like, "You don't look like what you." I was like, "Well, I can identify as anything." You know?
Well, yeah, it's very presumptuous to assume that I don't look the way I say I look.
Yeah. I just bait them with their own medicine. You know.
They don't know what to do when you do that either. They get sputtery.
Yeah.
But I think
Where are you right now?
I'm sorry.
Where are you?
I'm in my backyard. Yeah, it's super nice out here. It's been cold the past few days, but I just got done working out, so I'm about to cook out here. I use the Blackstone to cook all my food on, like my meal prep. So I'm about to cook out here in a minute.
Nice.
Yeah. I had a short get dinged because the title was "Our Pantry's Sexy," and the R is in there for full transparency. And they dinged me, and then I had them review it, and they undinged me. But it was the same thing. It was like by that time the webinar was done, all of it was done, and I was like, whatever.
Wow.
I shouldn't use the word sexy in my title, I guess. Yeah, but I don't care. I just do what I do. Huh?
I used knife one time. Like I put knife or something, and I got hit for that. You know, this was a long time. This was like 7 or 8 years ago. I got hit for that. I was like, wow. You know, I can't say knife, but it's semantics. You know.
Yeah. They try so hard to keep us safe. I got banned from Facebook for calling snow white devil dust, which it is.
Yeah.
But they called that hate speech, and I asked them to review it, and they still considered it hate speech. So apparently, you can't hate on snow for Facebook, guys. Just for the record, one of these days, I'm just going to get pulled off everything. It's going to be what it is, but.
I actually got 2 strikes on Rumble after January 6th. I did some videos about January 6th, and they struck me 2 times in that day. So I quit using Rumble. And I think maybe they were taking a knee a little bit, because of what was going on. Nobody really took a side yet. And I got 2 strikes. So I quit with Rumble until about 6 months ago. They contacted me, a lady there, and she asked me to start using Rumble again. And I guess she works for Rumble, but she watches me on YouTube. And I told her what happened, and she removed the strikes. Because if you get 3 strikes, or you're out. So I'm like, I don't want to, invest time, and I'm on one strand.
Yeah.
But she removed my strikes for me, so now we double post everything there too.
Have you heard of Odyssey?
I have. I've never even looked at it though, so I'm not really, clear.
Odyssey will auto synchronize with your YouTube.
Oh wow.
And it's a blockchain based system where you can't delete it. The only thing they can do is if they decide something is, kiddie porn or something, they can make it so it doesn't come up in their search engine. But that's another way to back up if you're looking at not losing all your stuff off YouTube.
Yeah,
and it's odyssee.com. Super easy to set up. And then it just automatically does all of the syncing.
I'll check it out. Yeah, I'm a tech idiot. I got to get my partner. He's the tech guy. He's the tech side of the house. So.
Well, you have my email if you want to connect us. I'll hook that up. So, okay. So I've noticed that there's been a lot of coverage of shootings this week. Have you guys seen that uptick?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Intentional or not intentional?
Intentional. Yeah.
Why?
They want to take guns. I mean, it's the thing that they want to get. I think it's for them. I think it's the ultimate Democrat takeaway right now. Like it's the main thing. Disarm you so you're defenseless. I think they have to be careful. I mean, I'm not saying there's going to be people going crazy, but the potential's there if you get what I mean. So you have to remove that potential. I mean, people are tired, as you can see with the midterms. A lot of places, there's some shady business, but people as a whole are tired of the nonsense. So they want to make us like cattle. Yep.
Because they want to put you in camps.
Yes. Yeah, I always say they put you on the cattle trailer and make you eat crickets. Put your boots over here and your wedding rings over here and get on the trailer.
Yep, and that's what it's about. And they can't do that because everybody's armed.
Yeah.
So they chip away piece by piece by piece.
And a lot of people will say, and obviously the U.S. military is more advanced than your average guy on the street. However, do you really want that contingency in America? It would be bad either way. They may ultimately win, but it would be very bad.
They would be better served to get people to choose not to have them than to try to keep forcing it, though. I think this forcing it thing is oriented towards fomenting division. So I think it's not just disarming. I think it's division so that we don't talk to each other and find out we have more in common than we realize.
Well, that's what the pandemic.
It's division. It's just more separation, right? It used to be whites and blacks and gays and straights and Baptists and non-Baptists, but it's how do we divide? And you have all those gun owners, and now you have separate factions of the gun owners. All the gun owners are constantly fighting, and the worst is policing themselves. It's always somebody telling on you for some other shit. When you get reported on any social media, it's always somebody you fucking know that reported you for some shit. Somebody that claims to be your friend.
Yeah. I think that to me, I always talk about the black pill. Like there's a red pill and the blue pill and the black pill, because I see so much of that, like division. People fall into it, and there's something that is going around, and you can see it, especially with the youth. It's like this moral superiority, and it happens on both sides. It's not just leftists. I see conservatives. Well, I'm better than so and so because of X, Y, and Z. I'm a better da 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 da. And this is part of the tactic where people want to get more, instead of success, like trying to do something good with your life, whether that's being the best in business, being the best, being fit, people want to be morally superior. Why? Because it's the easiest thing that takes no work. You can just all of a sudden, I'm morally superior than you because of this,
Yep. Take the high ground. It fosters that Karen behavior.
Yes.
That, I expect perfection from everybody outside me, and I blame you if there's not perfection. And which one of us in this world is really perfect?
Yeah.
As opposed to giving people grace and realizing, maybe they got up that day and their kid was terminally ill. They found out. And as a result, that person was an ass to me.
Yeah.
We forget that so much. We're very easy to forgive ourselves for stuff like that. It's hard to give that to somebody else on the assumption you don't know what's up.
Yeah, it's that softening of society. People are soft these days. It's like whenever, when we were growing up, this kind of nonsense wouldn't go on. I mean, you might get taken to the woods. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, John would posit that I'm soft, right?
This has given people this has given people the ability to speak without the risk of getting their teeth knocked out.
Amen.
Right.
Amen.
And that's that whole telling on people, right? It's given people who have no power, it's given them that taste of power, when rather than going and earning that power or doing the work to get the power, it's a false sense of power. And they don't like you. They don't like us, right? So what can they do? They can tell, or they can cause problems, or they can report without actually having to come to where you're at.
Yeah. And I think, it really started with the pandemic. I think they've seen how easy it was to control and divide a society. Hey, you can't go to your family's house for Thanksgiving. Hey, your grandma's dying, but you're not going to go see her, and actually only look at these news articles that you're going to be fed, because we're going to stop everything else. To me, what it showed is how easy our society can be sheep. And this is obviously it's happening in America, but I feel like it's happening everywhere. And I always talk about, I think it's a move towards a global totalitarian government. I think we're seeing it right before our eyes,
Yeah.
A great reset, if you will.
Yeah.
Almost like it was planned.
Almost like they know how psychology works. Yeah, I find it interesting that the most offensive thing that we can do is be happy in the lives we're building.
Yeah.
That's literally offensive. I'm just over here doing my thing, and you're pissed off at me for doing my thing. I have friends from high school at this point who fight with me. They're not friends anymore.
Yeah, those aren't friends.
Right? Where I'm like, literally, we spent hours as teenagers, all hopeful about the world and knowing each other's core. And now you think I'm evil because actually in the last election, I chose not to vote because my vote didn't count. And that's my decision. And I stand by it. And you're mad at me because you think I would have voted for the Democrat, and you were totally wrong.
Yeah. I think people get worked out. People get worked up over, these things, and you can sit it down. Like it's a fake world. It's the Matrix. Like, this doesn't exist. You can turn it off and it goes away. But people don't see that. They are consumed by this. Like, they live their entire lives in this thing, and to me, it's a control technology. Like, I think it's designed for control as well. Why do you think we always make this joke about hoverboards? I was a little kid watching Back to the Future. I wanted a hoverboard so bad. I was like, I can't wait into the future whenever I can get a hoverboard. Well, there's no hoverboard, not a real one like on the movie, but they spend so much money on this. Don't you think people should be able to walk after having a spinal, injury now? I mean, but no, you can have every app control, track people, all these sort of things. Everything is spent on control devices like this,
Yeah. And yet we use them
because we love them. You have people with no job that have $2,000 phones. Like my video guys, like, yeah, I paid $1,800. I'm like, your phone is $1,800. They actually have $1,800 phones now, but that's by design, man, because their entire life is here. Because you don't have to do this. You don't have to have calluses. You don't have to bleed. You don't have to sweat. You don't have to be short of breath, and you can have some kind of following on this thing and be something. You can pretend to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it's about. I mean, I did a video that's about to come out talking about how I've kind of fucked myself up from short form content. My attention span. I will seek out information and I'll find a 15-minute video. I'll be halfway through it and I don't even have the answer, but I'm already over it, right? Because we're programmed. We have 3 seconds to capture them and we have 5 to 7 for a call to action. And if you don't get it in that first 10 seconds, it's never going to happen. Everything we do is just boom, 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 boom. TikTok and stories. It's just destroyed. And it's really affected me in a negative manner. I get up in the morning at 4:30 and make a video, and then I put this thing down. I try to not touch this for 2 to 3 hours. And my thoughts and my evidence at the end of the day, my progress at the end of the day is very different when I don't put this thing in my ear right away. When
I can tell just from the things you post, you're very locked on to these sort of things. Like, you wouldn't even have to tell me that. I would know that about you because of what the things you post and say, that you live that type of lifestyle, and that's I think a lot of the issue, there's not many people like us that are vocal about a lot of these things, or the people get mad about things you say or do. And, want to attack you and stuff like that, especially the larger you get in the social media world. Look, I didn't really even want to do YouTube, to be honest. Like, I'm the anti-YouTuber, you know what I mean? because it's just a lot of people like that deserve to be punched in the mouth. People that with the keyboard muscles, and it's just how it is.
Every now and then they forget they're in public, though.
Yeah. Or you'll meet them at the same place. I've ran into people before, like other guys, and I never really try to put drama out there in the public, but I've ran into guys before at conventions like Blade Show and stuff, and I'll go check them. You know what I mean? And the tigers turn to kittens. Yeah. I mean, because where I come from, you get beat up for these things. You know what I mean? And I try to be an adult now, but it's still sometimes you still want to resort back to your old self.
Yeah, I mean, they come up super cool, come into your booth at Blade Show, shake your hand, take the picture, and then you catch them someplace where they've blocked you, but their friend sends you a screenshot. It's just baffling, man, the time people put into negative shit. If you just put half of that time into some positive shit or even bettering yourself, imagine how much happy. I don't know any successful people talking shit on other people's social media.
No, it doesn't go well. That's the thing. Like, that's what I always tell people too. Like, I'm like, man, go focus on yourself, dude. Like, do better. Like, work on yourself, But I think maybe people are miserable. People think it's going to help them in some kind of way, but who knows? It's sad. It's a sad state of the country. But I noticed it a lot with college kids, which is worrisome because, man, I mean, we're going to be in wheelchairs soon,
Yeah.
And they're going to be running the country. And man, I mean, that's terrifying. Like we're not going to have control of these sort of things, that's what worries me, especially if you have small children, and your children are going to have to live in this nonsense,
Yeah. And
I think what gives me hope is who's coming behind the college kids, though.
Those college kids, those same people are in your current military right now. When we would have a kid come in that bounced a check, man, we would call command. And the XO would bring or the CO would bring his ass to the shop and bring you the money, right? There's no recourse now, man.
No.
Kid's saying crazy shit. And I'm like, what's this motherfucker talking? And you look at his stuff and he's in the Army. He's in the Marine Corps. Like, times have changed.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, it is soft. It is soft. There's no way I could still be in the military. It is too soft. The world is soft, and I know for a fact, like I had some guys hit me up, occasionally, and especially about the hokey pokey. They're like, hey man, like this one guy just made it through recon selection, and he was like, they want me to take the hokey pokey. He's like, I'm thinking about getting out. I said, man, he said, what should I do? I said, I can't tell you what to do. I don't want that on burden on my shoulders, but do whatever you think is right. And that's the thing, like we've lost the good ones. That was a way to get rid of the good ones, the exile. Yes. And now it's full of these sheep, leftist sheep, and that's what's in there. And they're being indoctrinated. My son's in the Army, and you can tell, just things that he even says. I'm like, no, dude, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I don't think we're going to stay soft for long.
Yeah, well, it can't, because that's how the cycle is.
Well, I mean, what's coming right now? What do you think is coming in the next 5 years?
I think, obviously, I even heard Bezos talking yesterday, which, I mean, I don't like that guy, but he is in the spectrum of knowing things, and he was talking about we're going into recession, which nobody wants to say that, and these sort of things. And he's saying that businesses are going to collapse. They're not going to be able to stay. He's basically like, preserve your money because you may need it to eat. And so, if he's saying that, and, obviously the way the economy is moving, and then you look at the elections coming up, they're trying to indict Donald Trump. And I think in the next 2 years, we're going to have a fast forward and things are going to be bad,
John, what do you see coming at this point?
I think the same. I think that you're going to see a bunch of nonsense happen prior to the election. I think they're going to do everything they can to not have Trump be president. Just keep preparing, man. Just plan for the worst, hope for the best. And if you're prepared for the worst, anything less than that is going to be easier, right? If we really believe that's coming, would we be better off focusing and dwelling on the negative, or would we be better off making as much money as we can and putting that money into places that will preserve the wealth and have the ability to do more things in the future with that money. It's just that positive. It's that, like we were talking about just a minute ago, focus on the negative, you got a lot more negative shit coming. When you start talking positive, more positive people show up. If you build the right thing, the right people are going to show up for you. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of hard times coming for a lot of hard people. I think they're already here for a lot of people. Food prices are up 300% over the last 24 months, right? What you're paying right now, this Thanksgiving, you're paying 300% more than you were 2 years ago while all the pandemic and all that shit was going on, right? Supposedly going on. So did we prepare for that? Are we in motion? Do we have ourselves surrounded with people that are going to be better off in those times? And I think for the most part, our audiences are. But I mean, you got even Amazon's just told people, hey, start shopping for another job. You're not going to be here after Christmas. FedEx laid off tons of people. Facebook just fired 11,000 people. I mean, it's happening all over the place. Money is definitely tighter. You go to Walmart right now, those containers are pouring in. There's a ton of inventory, but it's not the shit you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Jack, I know you have limited time today, so I don't want to keep you on. If you need to go, just cruise.
I'll stay on just for a few more minutes.
Yeah, I wanted to, before we started this, you started telling me about the tribe.
Yeah.
So because I think the best prep we can have are the relationships. Like, we need to take care of ourselves and be willing to take care of people in our tribe. I love that word. But tell us about the tribe.
Yeah. So kind of with that, there's a guy named Kevin Reeve, and he used to do a lot of training, and I took a class of his one time, and he always said that skill trumps gear. So having skills is better than having gear. And he said that community trumps skill, right? Mm-hmm. So community is better than even having skill. Like, so you can take one man with a lot of skill, or have a community with a diverse skill set is going to do better. Obviously, I mean, you look at gangs, you look at, militias in foreign countries, drug cartels, these sort of things, prison system everywhere. And I say these type of ideas because, to me, this is the models of what society would break down to, where gangs, prison, these sort of things, having more people is better. And so you can't stand fire watch by yourself all night. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to sleep. So I think obviously you should prepare. You should have gear, food, these sort of things, bandages, beans, bullets, all that, Band-Aids, whatever the saying is, skill sets, and that includes fitness and all that. But having communities, very big. And what I noticed, like during the YouTube thing, now there had been some people trying to build some networks before that, some kind of things would go awry. And so what I wanted to do is, instead of like making this tribe about Black Scout survival or anything like that, I just wanted to facilitate networking. So we created a networking platform where people can go in there and just network. We have it broken down by states and by regions. And so what I encourage them to do is basically they self-govern and they have meetups. So like this weekend, we had meetups in Alaska, Florida, and Texas. Last weekend, or two weekends ago, was like Oklahoma. So there's meetups across the country, and they'll train. They'll go, shooting. They'll like one group went archery because they didn't have a shooting range in their area. They did archery. They'll eat, and it goes as much as, hey man, you got somebody that like, hey man, I need a hand moving something. Can you come help me? All the way to zombie apocalypse, and that's the kind of way I want to do, because it's hard to find like-minded people. If you notice, like, the pool of friends, like as you get older, get smaller, because all of us get focused on work, these sort of things. And that's why, like, you see people that stay single a long time, it's very hard for them to meet a mate, because it's very little opportunity to them to be around someone. So I wanted to facilitate a way to do that. And so that's why I created the tribe.
Where is that?
So the tribe, how we run it is we use the YouTube like subscriber platform. So you join through there, and then when you join through there, and you can join for $3 a month, you can then get a link that takes you to our platform, and it's built, and it has resources of all kinds of different information. We have some people that are like self-taught experts in a lot of things, so they'll give instruction on things. We have breaking news, so we have people that are out there searching what is the news, so you get news updates constantly, and just various different things. And some of them are just friends, so they'll discuss like just topics that they want to talk about. But a lot of people join just to get in that group in their state, so they get to meet people.
Do you use like Mighty Networks, or what do you
We
use to?
use Discord app.
Okay.
So I looked
Yeah.
at a bunch of apps, and Discord seemed to be the most effective for this type of thing. Because you can post videos, images, and you can tab out all the different things you want. I tried a few different ones, but that seemed to be the most effective. And I was afraid of being like on Facebook or something like that, where you can be kicked off. Discord has given us no problems.
Yeah.
You ever show up at any of those meetings?
Yeah. So after every Late Night Live, I try to hop in for a little bit just to discuss some things. Or you mean in-person meetings?
In person?
Not yet, but I plan to. So this is the thing. I'm not going to tell them that I'm coming.
Yeah.
Just show up.
Surprise!
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's my plans is I'm going to coordinate some of those and just hop in on them.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I told them I didn't want this, because I've seen some guys, and I'm not trying to badmouth anyone, but they'll set these things to be like a fan club. I don't want a fan club. I don't want anybody to be my fan. I'm nobody's hero, and I'm just here to facilitate a network, and that's it. That's my whole thing. I want to help all of us, that like-minded people and people who support me, obviously, but people who believe in the same ideas, because I'm not going to be around here forever. I got 2 baby girls. I mean, one of them's only 4 months old. I'm going to be gone one day, and I want to make sure that I'm helping at least do something. I entertained the idea of going into politics a year or two ago, but I was wanting to run in against Lindsey Graham, which I think is 2026. But the thing is I don't know that I'm a politician, and I don't know that I would do farewell in that world. But I was like, what can I do? And hopefully some more, things happen, some more ideas happen. Maybe someone will give me an idea of something I can help use my platform to affect some kind of change.
Well, I would posit that creating a network of people who support each other in more of an anarchy approach, sort of bottom up, self-governance approach, is going to do a lot more than had you won that race in 2026. 2026 is a long time from now. The most miserable I've ever been, I held a public office.
Oh, wow.
It was terrible, because you're like, everybody thinks you can fix stuff and you can't do anything in there. They have that system set up and locked down, so you can't actually do much except for sit there. I mean, you saw that when Donald Trump was president, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to change all the things,
But your hands
barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the president. Yeah.
It's it's kind of funny how the system is set up to take care of its own, and I'm not part of its own. Neither.
We're also considering maybe doing some kind of annual thing. I know you guys do it as well, and that may be even something great for us to advertise on my tribe. I don't know how many people you want there, how much room you got, but obviously it would be great. And I'm going to try to attend this year. But it would be something great, in anything like that, like anything you guys are doing, obviously, that we can help, because like I said, it's about trying to better educate people and network, meet like-minded people.
Yeah, I think the more we get our networks to each other's events, the better. The in-person events I find to be the most valuable. I love all these tools we have online. I love that I can train people on how to manage a pantry from a permaculture perspective by doing one thing on a Saturday and reaching hundreds of people. But, nothing beats coming in and looking at the pantry in person.
Yeah.
So you want to get out, and nothing beats sitting with somebody, looking them in the eyes and really feeling their energy, I don't think, from a relationship standpoint.
Oh, no doubt. I used to teach, survival and courses and stuff like that. And it's just too hard for, to try to do that and do all other things. But, I like the concept of having like a gathering like that, because then you can get a bunch of different people with a bunch of different backgrounds and skill sets, whereas if you're coming to a survival course, you're only learning this thing. You're coming to a shooting course, you're only learning this thing. Whereas if you come to something like this, you can, soak it in like a sponge and get a lot of different things, because there's so many things I think you need to know. Just as a man or woman in this world, these are basic skill sets that your grandparents knew that nobody knows anymore. Canning. My grandparents, they canned everything. You go take any 20 or 30-year-old right now and ask them, hey, show me how to can. They're not going to know how to do it. You go take a man, he could be in his 40s or 50s and say, hey, go clean this deer. He's not going to know how to do it. for the by and large.
Yeah.
Or change a tire even. I mean, I don't know how many people I've had to stop and help change a grown man's tire, you know?
Yeah. How to use tie downs.
That was required learning when I was growing up. Tires and batteries, man.
Yeah.
The in-person thing. It's easy to pretend to be somebody here. You don't really know who you're talking to. And we take information from people and then we put it in there as though it's true. And until it comes time to use it, you might not even check that. But when you meet in person, that's kind of the separation, man. You can kind of tell who is really who at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that and when you work on projects with people long term.
Yeah.
Do they mostly do what they say or not?
Yeah.
Am I constantly let down?
Thing. Yeah, it's a character thing. You know, I think if someone builds like a reputation of having a certain character, you know, it's hard to maintain that sort of stuff over a long period of time. Anybody can fake anything for any short amount of time, but whenever you see someone who has demonstrated, you know, X, Y, and Z for a long period of time, you can pretty much take it to the bank. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's absolutely true. Okay, so tell us about Black Scout Survival and the sorts of things people can find at your website.
So yeah, Black Scout Survival is a tactical survival gear. You know, initially, like I said, we started out for the most part survival equipment and escape and evasion equipment for government and military, different SF groups, SEALs. We've outfitted a border patrol, board tac units, a lot of special forces guys. But we moved into regular cells as well, and so we have the whole gamut. You know, just basic wilderness survival stuff, escape and evasion, medical stuff. You know, just preparedness type stuff, and also we do merch. You know, the swag stuff that everybody else does.
Yeah.
And then obviously our YouTube channel. If you want to hear me, I'm like the redneck version of Tucker Carlson. I always say. And so you can hear me talk about that, and then I always try to demonstrate some survival techniques or tactical techniques throughout the week. And we've been doing this for 10 years, so we've got I think 1,000+ videos of instructional stuff that people can go back and watch.
Yeah, I love how you call things how you see them unapologetically. And there needs to be more of that in the world. A lot of people, like I get a lot of people on my show who will bring up God from a Christian perspective, apologize before they do it. And I'm like, listen,
yeah.
Christian, Jewish, Muslim, any of that's welcome on my channel, but don't apologize for your faith, man, because it's your faith. And nobody should expect you to tailor your message to them because they're not Christian. That's not what we're about.
Yeah, I noticed.
So I love that about what you see, how you call stuff.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of that about the Christian thing, and people will expect you to be Jesus Christ, oh, you did this or you did that, you cursed this, and well, I'm a human, all of us fall short. So that's the thing, and but yeah, I'm not going to back down because the leftist, the opposition will not back down on anything they say. So I'm not going to back down on anything I say.
No, they claim that moral high ground to make you feel guilty and bully you into just saying what they want you to say, right?
Yeah.
I have a podcast about, a lot of homesteading stuff, small business, preparedness, and I try to come at it from an encouraging standpoint. And ever since Roe versus Wade was overturned, both sides are calling on me to take a stand because it's my obligation to take a stand. I'm like, when was my podcast ever about abortion? Really? Yeah. Never. Why am I required to take a stand on that right now? I'm happy to discuss that with people in private, but I don't feel like I need to come out in favor of either side and advocate for that. That's not my job.
Yeah, that's something I noticed too. Like people feel like because you're on social media that you're owed to tell them certain things. Like, no, I decide on what I tell you. I'm decide on what I want you to know. People think that they're supposed to know everything about you. Like, no, like this ain't that, or everything I think. They'll try to bait you into certain, topics that, one, I may not be knowledgeable about. I'm not going to talk about something I don't know about. I'm not going to talk about how to conduct field surgery. It's just wild.
Yeah, it's an entitlement. Really, we're entitled to know everything about you because you're popular on YouTube.
Yeah.
Obviously, right, John?
Well, they consume 100% of your content, which is 10% of your life, right? They don't.
Right.
They don't have.
Exactly.
That's why they're like, you get up every morning. I'm like, you only see what I show you, right? We see you. We
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean you sleep in sometimes, John?
Sometimes I sleep all day on a Saturday.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm sick and I don't tell people.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to recharge sometimes. I can run about 3 weeks like that, and then then you don't.
Yeah. It'll hit you hard too, man.
Yeah.
That's how I think our bodies respond better to that anyway, to the running crash. As much as I think balance is important, the running crash is pretty important because you know what you're capable of. I was on a walk today with my dogs thinking, how many people can put their bug out bag on their back and go 15 miles to get out of a bad situation right now?
Yeah.
Can you? If you're listening to this and you're like, maybe not, well, can you go 5 miles then? You can't?
Right.
Can you go 1 mile?
Yeah. Could you run as fast as you can because something's trying to kill you for 1 mile?
Yeah.
A lot of people can't.
Yeah. And if you can't, then what you need to do tomorrow is walk a mile with a backpack on. And then Friday, do it again. And I don't care if you're eating a lot of turkey. You can still walk a mile. Even if you have to rest every 5 minutes, get that mile because it's something you can do that's free.
Fitness is free. Fitness is free. And people don't like to do it because it requires effort. And they feel better about not.
And he cuts out.
Stuff, right? Putting it away. Some of the most valuable people in my life are not fit, right? But we are all friends, and most of us know each other because of the prepper and survival and homesteading stuff. So how valuable are you going to be to your family when it comes time to really do these things? And you're the most out of shape person in the world.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, I think fitness is the number one. I mean, it's paramount, and it, like you said, there's no excuse not to do it. You can do push-ups, you can do pull-ups, you can find a tree branch, do pull-ups, push-ups, air squats, you can go for runs, you can put a backpack on. You don't even need a gym. But people make excuses. I don't have time. Well, all you need is 20, 30 minutes. You know, I mean, the time you watched, Dance with the Stars, you could have been doing that, you know.
While watching it.
Yeah. Or watch it, you know. I'm a big fan of audiobooks. So, like, I'll listen to audiobooks while I'm, working out.
Yep.
I think the most proud of somebody I've ever been was one of my assistants who was about 300 pounds and came to CrossFit with me and could not do a single squat. And they had her sit down on the bench and stand up. And she worked from that up to being able to do squats and be able to first walk a mile and then run a mile. It's an iterative thing. And it's unfortunately, because I wish I could just do that and be super fit, it's an everyday thing or it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And the only person who can be responsible for that is you.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part. It's like, I can't blame anybody else. It's like literally my fault. I didn't get my butt on the rower today.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to hop, but I do appreciate you guys having me on here.
Hey, do you mind sharing with us one thing before you sign off?
Sure.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish? I have to ask because it's this week.
Cornbread dressing. Yeah, that's my favorite.
All right. So you enjoy your cornbread dressing as you flow into the holiday. And thanks for making time for us today,
Yeah,
Jack.
thank you. I'll definitely come on again. I had fun. I appreciate you guys.
Cool.
Awesome.
Guys, you can check out his stuff at blackscoutsurvival.com. I put his link in the comments as well to his YouTube channel, but it's just at Black Scout Survival if you want to check that out. Jack, thanks so much for being on.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Yeah.
And everybody watching, happy Thanksgiving as well. Be safe.
Happy. Oh, Porterhouse is in the house. Happy Thanksgiving to all. All right. Bye, Jack. Hey, John, have you been following this guy?
Porterhouse and Teal?
Yeah.
I have not been following him. I have one of his birdhouses, though, and I hung out with him and had dinner with him when he was here for SRF.
Okay, so he left Self-Reliance Festival on fire. Okay. And what I've been seeing him do since he got back is make all of these really cool informational videos about how he's making compost with his chickens and biochar, and they're really well done. Porterhouse, Can you put a link to where people follow you? Because I'm loving the content that you're putting out. Super excited to see him. He's very consistent. Like he went home, he's like, I'm doing it. And he's doing it. So that's just one of those things that came out of Self Reliance Festival.
They'll let him put a link in here.
Oh, Porterhouse, email it to me. Yeah, he can email it to me. He has my email. And then I will put your link in. I haven't followed. If you're on YouTube, I haven't followed your channel yet. I've just been watching him on TikTok, and very impressed with the quality of what he's doing. But he's got a pretty darn cool homestead back there where he lives in the People's Republic of California. Yeah,
I think he's up north though.
Yeah, well, Northern California is pretty cool. I used to live on the Southern Oregon border.
I think it's actually on the ballot to not be part of California anymore.
Oh, the Jefferson State.
Yeah,
I'd be tempted. So you know the history of that, right?
No, I know the Texit thing though, and that's actually getting quite a bit of traction also.
Yeah. Well, so the Jefferson State is sort of a combination of Northern California, Southern Oregon to separate the influence of some big cities, right? San Francisco, Portland. And they were making great momentum to do this. And then World War II came and it just fell off of that entire thing. So the people who I lived in Southern Oregon. So the people who lived in Southern Oregon, Northern California, even when I was living there in the 90s, were 100% already calling themselves the Jefferson State, already alienated from Portland. When all of the crazy stuff in Oregon went down in 2020, sheriffs in Southern Oregon were saying, yeah, we're not going to enforce any of that. So good luck.
So 30-day review says that won't ever happen. I don't think it matters if it will even happen or there's any hope of it. It's the talk, and it brings more people in and opens their eyes. Like we used to have signs in San Diego that said, who is Rand Paul, right? I had no idea who Rand Paul was. So I saw it enough times I actually looked it up. Or who is libertarian, or what is a libertarian? I'd never heard that term, but I saw it enough times that I looked at it, and then it makes you think, right? Not only that, as those movements grow larger and you realize that voting libertarian just takes votes away from the other, right? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But you've never seen a libertarian even close to winning an election. So, okay, I can't win here, but which side do I go to? So it involves people maybe. I'm of the belief that it's like Jack says, the slave recommendation box. But it does open their eyes, right? And the politicians go, maybe we better do some shit a little bit differently because these people really seem to fucking hate us.
Yeah. Well, everybody was really surprised that there wasn't like the red wave this time.
Maybe there was.
Maybe there was. That's
there was.
But if there wasn't, why would you think there wasn't?
Say that again.
If there wasn't really a red wave, why would you think there wasn't? Because that's what I've been thinking about. If there wasn't, what happened?
Well, I think the real answer, I think they bullshitted the votes. I think they fucking the machines, right? Why are we still using those machines? Why do we use voting machines to tabulate votes where other countries have banned those machines? Why is there so much video out there of people walking? It happened here in this fucking little tiny town. People walked in to vote and they said, are you voting Republican or Democrat? I'm voting Republican. The machines that vote Republican are down. Like what? Why are there two separate machines? Why don't you put a fucking thing in there and it takes your vote? Why isn't there a camera over there why can they not? They know everything we're doing every place you are. How the fuck can they not monitor the voting booth?
Yeah, I think there's also a division in the Republican Party, though.
Yes.
Like they're so greatly divided that I think that's also impacting.
Because modern day Republican politicians are Obama-era Democrats.
Right.
And Democrats are liberals, and liberals nowadays are some fucking completely other insane animal. Because it's all shifted to the right. And at the end of the day, all those people talking about Republicans, Democrats, they're all molesting the same children. They're all on the island together. They're all on the airplane together. 99% of those people, they're at the same fucking parties. It's the World Wrestling Federation.
The World Wrestling Federation. That's why we throw our hands up and they're like, screw politics. That's how I always feel about that. Conservatism is progressivism. Yeah, the progressive have completely infiltrated that.
And anytime Republicans get in, they're lazy. The Democrats are not lazy. They work that system, get in, and then pass a bunch of crazy shit. The Republicans get in and don't do fucking anything. Because what are they? They are Democrats.
Yeah, they don't want to pass the stuff they run on.
No.
It took me when I was working in school choice, they'd be like, yeah, we want parents to choose where their child goes to school. Like, let's start with a baseline. Doesn't matter what your zip code is. Any public school in the state, you can go to that. Nope, won't pass it. Draft language, all the things. You know why? Because they don't want to piss off the union lobbies. That's why.
Yep.
And that's why it is so gut-wrenching to work in public policy if you're actually trying to make change for the better, because you're using a broken system to fix itself. It's never going to happen.
Right. It's just like the border crisis. We could solve it. It's just like the drug problem. We could solve it. When the Republicans were in office and they were doing all the war on drugs, they didn't solve any drugs. They were selling drugs themselves. They were involved in it. It doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat.
Yeah, totally true. Okay, so what's going on in the compound lately that's new?
Man, we've been focused inside. We're ready for winter. I don't know that we're ready for winter, but it's winter. All of the grass is dead. Everything's maintaining. I've got rabbits having babies like crazy. I've still got 15-pound chickens. So
we need to do a processing class at Willis's.
I just kill them every couple of days. I kill them and give them to the dogs. I mean, they'll be gone by the time we really have real winter.
Yeah.
We had some freeze last week. This week we don't have anything under 32. Unless we're sustained cold multiple days in a row, all the water still runs. I don't even have stock tank heaters in water yet. We've had a little ice on top of water. I'm still using rabbit water bottles even. I haven't even switched over to bowls. Cody just switched all his quail to bowls. But everything really is inside, just SOE business stuff.
Have you hit the ramp up for Christmas at this point?
No, we haven't even ran a Black Friday sale.
Oh, are you gonna?
I don't know.
Oh, guys, you better pay attention to SOE on Black Friday just in case they decide to do one.
When we do a sale, like it's never coordinated or planned. Yeah. Usually, like when we've even run sales after the fact, like we just didn't even realize they weren't even on the radar. We'll run I don't know, a flashlight, International Flashlight Day. Yeah. People don't ever look to see when that is. We just heard about it because somebody else did it, and we do it 2 weeks later. We haven't run any Black Friday. Everybody's been running Black Friday this year. For the last 90 days, really, people have been doing Black Friday sales.
Yeah. I'm running my first one ever at Hollow Roast.
Yeah.
I've been doing Hollow Roast for a decade. The free gift wrapping upgrade.
Yeah. Yep. I feel like people, not all people, right? People that are making money are still making money.
Yeah.
People that kind of cruised they don't have money. I think that we talked about most of the stuff we talked about today. We just did a podcast, Scully and I, talking about the exact same stuff.
Right.
And I feel like they got everybody to empty their bank accounts during that quarantine, right? So people that had money, they don't have any money left. So people that didn't have that worry, now that they don't have that pillow there, that cushion's no longer there. So impulse buys, those have fallen off. I think that people are spending a lot less money for Christmas. I think that everybody knows that, and that's why they were starting those sales so early, because they were after that money. Yeah. We do stuff a little different. We don't have any dealers. I don't have mass volumes of inventory, and we always build less than we can sell. So if I can sell 100, we're only building 75, and we jump around a lot. Sometimes it's rigs, sometimes it's bags. Our clients know that when we build something, you won't see it come back for a long time, so they buy it if they want it. So we don't really have to do that.
Well, that and on lead time on building things is 6 to 8 weeks, right?
It's 8 to 12 weeks.
8 to 12 weeks. So Christmas is sooner than that at this point.
But I mean, most of it, like we've kind of switched. We really spent the last 2 years building orders locking inventory,
Yeah.
populating correct. So it used to be you could go to the website and buy anything you want, and now I'd say 80% of the website, if it's anywhere near $100, it's turned off. If you can buy it, we have it.
Yeah.
But our Black Friday sale most years literally was, hey, we have these things. We'll give you 20% off. When you order, I need you to know there is no ETA on this thing, and there's never going to be a refund. So we'll post on Facebook, hey, what items would you like to order? And we open those up, and then we put in big red, 16-letter font, no ETA, non-refundable, whatever. And we do $1 million every time we do that. Every single time we have run a Black Friday sale, it has always been that. And we haven't done that in, I don't know, 2-3 years probably.
Makes sense. And people still bitch when their stuff doesn't come by Christmas, I bet.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of living by, like, I think hard times are coming, right?
Yeah.
I think that's happening. So we've just kind of changed how we've done things. We've just been delivering product and just getting that old way of business, how we've done things, out, so that I spent the last 2 years moving my entire life so that if we were shut down or shipping shut off, we would still be able to live the same way we're living.
Yeah, that's important. Woo! I'm getting the cough, John.
You're getting what?
I had COVID last week, by the way, just transparently.
Did you just have a bunch of people over or something?
No, I got it at Jack's.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, I came back with it. So I still have like this intermittent cough thing that happens.
Man, we had a lot of people. We had a lot of people here for Self-Reliance Festival, but we didn't have any sick. Like, I don't know anybody that was sick after it.
No, not that one. I think the October one, it was all outside. It was pleasant outside, and it was less easy to get exposed to stuff. But Jack's, man, I think a good half of us went down after that. It had nothing to do with the late nights. Nothing at all.
Or alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. Alcohol was not involved at all.
No.
So yeah, but that was a fun time. You should come out to one of those sometime. Okay.
I would like to.
Well, maybe we'll get you. Even if you just come on a Saturday. But you have to fly probably to get there and get back on your schedule. Do you fly much?
Yeah, I don't have a flying problem.
That's good. So 30-day reviews asks, can you use PVC pipe with nipples and heat tape for the birds?
So here's my question about that. And maybe you know the answer to that, 30-day reviews. I see a lot of people talking about heating the water. My thought was, when we heat the water, it's still going to freeze in the line, right? It's going to freeze downstream from that. Now, you said heat tape. Could we heat tape it? Yes, we probably could, especially in his system. If you guys don't know what these quail cages look like, it looks like some play school. It looks like children's toys. It's plastic. It snaps together. It makes these little boxes. It has a little door that snaps shut, and it's very easy. It's literally 12 by 12, and I think it's about 12 by 12 inches, and you've got one male and 2 or 3 birds in these cubbies, these little holes. Now, rabbits, I guess I could do that with rabbits too and use the heat tape. I see a lot of people in the rabbit and chicken group saying just put a heater in the 5-gallon bucket or in your mass of water, and then it just, gravity feeds into the PVC pipe or lines. But I would think that down line, because like my row of rabbits, I've got 30 feet of rabbits. I've got 3 rows that are 30 feet of rabbits. I would think that just having water in there, it would still freeze down line. You're muted, Nicole.
But it was so insightful what I said. 100%. Most insightful thing I ever said was during that muted time. 30 Days Reviews is in North Dakota. So what we do to keep water from freezing in Tennessee is a totally different scale than what somebody in North Dakota, if your animals are outside, would have to do. What we do for our rabbits is we do have heat tape on a PVC pipe with the nipples. If it's going to be really cold, we'll put a tarp over their cages with a heat lamp under it. And I don't think it froze last year when the heat tape was plugged in. But if I'm at, somewhere between 0 and 11 for days, night after night after night, that's a totally different thing. So that's where, go ahead.
So we've seen 0 degree temperature.
Yeah.
We used to put straw in there and build up around the edges and make these igloos out of straw. The rabbits don't give a shit. Like, they don't need it. They grow fur. They live out. You see rabbits out in the snow. We didn't do any of that stuff. We give them cover where they can get out of wind. Even in the winter, we give them a nest box, whether they have babies, so they can kind of get in there. I'll put straw in those nest boxes. They throw it all out, eat it, and then shit all over it. And then I see people talking about using heated water bowls. Anything that draws heat electrically draws a lot of electricity.
Right.
And I've got a 20 amp service up there. I have probably 30 or 40 rabbit cages that would have to have bowls in them. So that's a no-go. I'd plug that in and it would pop that circuit. Plus I've got 4 dogs up there, and we've got 3 different chicken pens, all kinds of shit. So what we do is I have a big 120 gallon stock tank, Rubbermaid. It's black.
Yeah.
When there's ice on it, within a couple of hours of sunlight, that black tank is heated up enough to melt the ice. When it's really cold, I put a floating stock tank heater in there, and you see the steam just billowing out of this thing. And then I just fill water bowls with 1 gallon pitchers. So it takes longer to do it, but I do that twice a day on the coldest days because I am lazy. If I don't have to go up there, I wouldn't go up there for 4 days, right? And if you had a problem like one of those water lines, within 4 days, you've got a bunch of dead animals. Within 2 days, you've got dead animals, right?
Yeah.
So for me to take care of them, I have to do that. I need to do that, right? So I go up twice a day. And there's times even before we were using a big stock tank, when the water was frozen up the hill, I would come over here to the kitchen and pull hot water out of the kitchen and move 6 5-gallon buckets and do it that way. And we would do that twice a day. But we're set up now. I mean, it works very simple. I'm about 20 minutes a day to take care of animals. When the worst possible conditions, layered clothing and everything, I'm only 40 minutes at the most.
Yeah, which is nice. Tactical, can you check your Telegram, please? The other thing about water is you have natural water features on your property, like ponds or a stream. If you notice, even skiing on the top of a mountain, running water doesn't freeze as much. It will eventually freeze over if it's cold enough. If you have a feature like that, that's backup access for your animals to have water if whatever watering solution you have fails. So we have a spring-fed pond here, and our ducks just go there during the day, and at nighttime they don't have water.
Yep.
We don't keep water in their cage with them. They just make a huge mess with it. They go in, they go to sleep, they come out in the morning, they hit the pond.
So like we have rabbits, our rabbits, we give them big bowls. I try to use rubber bowls now. Some of them chew them up. So those guys get metal bowls. But when you come out in the morning, the rabbits have clawed through. They will actually eat the ice. They will bust that stuff up and eat that stuff. So in the morning at about 7 o'clock, we take that bowl, smack that cube of ice out of it, put water in there. And then about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we do it again. But through the night, they will get water when they want water.
Yeah. My first year here, we didn't have any water antifreeze systems. And I did what you did. I rotated buckets of warm water from the house during the day, every couple of hours on really cold days. And, once or twice a day after that. There was a time where people didn't have electricity to keep the water from freezing. And somehow the animals survived.
All these prepper guys, maybe you should practice, try that shit out. See how that goes. In the winter, turn your circuit breaker off for a couple days.
I'll tell you what, it's really nice having electrical heat.
It's nice having electrical everything. I'd rather be like Tag, where no matter what happens, you're like, what do you mean there's no power?
Speaking of Tag.
Yeah, hello, man.
I just put in this air conditioner in my roasting shack. So I haven't had heat or air conditioning in my roasting shack till this year. And now that it's cold, I'm like, oh, I can turn the heat on. And it's amazing.
Yep.
How that is. You want to say hi to everybody? I just begged for water because of the coughing fit.
What's up, man?
I'll email you pictures of the rabbit water that I've got with the heat tape.
Cool.
Yep. Probably not as easy on a rabbit tractor, but you know.
Well, we'll take them. We'll take them out of the tractor. We'll kill
Yeah.
all of those. Those are one by one going to dogs. I think there's only 6 in the tractors right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. Last time I saw your tractors were full. They overflowed.
Yeah.
And you
Yep.
had the rabbits outside the tractors too.
Yep. We've killed those off too. I caught one of them yesterday. Threw her in with a male.
Yeah.
So she's dead. And then I've got another one still hopping around. I got a really cute little champagne one too that I won't kill. I'll eventually catch that thing.
Yeah. It's always funny to watch them because you've got your rabbits in the tractor and then the ones on the outside hanging out by the tractor with the other rabbits. But
So we
it's what it
had
is.
him have, yeah, well, we had one burrow under. I think he was trying to mate with those females from underneath. He literally dug a trench underneath that tractor. But remember the babies that were running around? There are no babies. The dogs, one by one, got a hold of, ate those things.
Yeah. Dogs will do that if they're allowed to. How are your
Especially-
LGDs doing?
Good. The female's huge. The male is enormous. He pulled almost all of those trees that we planted in the back. He just pulled that damn pipe, the drain pipe from the shower.
no.
He just plugged that up. So I'm gonna put rail ties over there, but I'm gonna have to T-post and fence around those swales.
Until the
And
trees are bigger.
Yeah, until they're really in there.
Yeah, that's kind of a funny thing how that is. I'm watering mine right now because we haven't had enough rain. And I didn't put in swales, but I put in micro swales so it would make it easier to water. I can just put a hose at one end. And man, it's been dry. It's been too
Yes.
dry. So they were
Yeah.
I went out there, put my finger in there, and I was like, nope, we better water this today because it was going to rain tomorrow, but now it's not. So Evan wants to know if we're interested in radio comms for the next Self-Reliance Festival. What say you, John?
I'm sure that we are.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Radio comms would be great, Evan. Especially if you can figure out a way for the event coordinators to not have to just follow each other in a circle around the whole campus, which we do a lot of. It's like John and I are looking for each other, walking in the same direction, which is always fun.
We do. We walk probably an extra 4 or 5 miles on those days.
Yeah. Yep. And it's great on the gravel. It's really good on your knees.
Well, that's kind of like my default, right? When I'm not, I'll have a conversation. When I'm done, I'll walk away and go have the other conversation. But when I'm not having a conversation, I go looking for you. That's my default, right? That's my back to home base.
Yeah. What else do I need to do? And I'm like, I need to give him the 5-minute warning to be on stage. So I got to make sure I know where John is. How many people? I'll start preparing. Evan, I'll hit you up on email. We'll talk about that, what that looks like. I'm getting excited for the March Self-Reliance Festival, starting to see some things come together for that. John and I will be having a talk soon about it. And I think it's going to be better than the last one. I think they just will keep getting better.
Yeah, I don't think it can't get, it has to be better than the last one.
Yeah, otherwise I'm fired, right?
No, but I mean that people are excited about it. People are hungry for it. There's value, and there's things that you're going to take home that are actionable, immediately actionable. If nothing else, it's just getting around the people that are here. You can't be around people doing things and not do things yourself. If that's who you are, you'll just stop coming.
Yeah.
You'll weed yourself out.
Yep. Or you'll go home like Porterhouse and start killing it in California.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and he showed up a few days early, helped us set up. It was really great.
That dude was already doing tons of stuff. Like when we sat at dinner, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the energy. That's that energy thing, man. You get around that dude and you can't help but do more and be better. That's just how he is.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
the same like with Tag, man. You can't get around those dudes and not want to do better.
And that's how you get better, right? Surround yourself with people like that instead of the negative Nellies we were talking about at the beginning of the show. And you don't want to see them next time and be like, well, I still haven't started planting my garden this year and it's May or June.
Right.
You want to be like, hey, I got it in this time. I got it in on time.
Or anything, man. And it's just that positive motivation, and it's that energy. When you get around those dudes, that's just how that is. When you have negative people around you, whether you know it or not, you're going to be pulled that direction. So you have to put that wall up. You disallow access to them, even on social media. Some dude comes on talking shit. I'll ask him a couple questions to clarify it. I'm like, dude, you will never have access to me here again. Blocked. I don't say that for him. I say that to set an example for the other eyeballs that see it. That's what you have to do. Your life will drastically change. Stay away from negative people. And when you see somebody that's happy about being negative, put gasoline on that motherfucker and light them on fire.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's funny, when I worked in crisis communications, we would, because it was politics, we would argue back. The argument was never with the person we were arguing with. It was 100% for the people who support us.
Absolutely.
So we weren't worried about winning. We were worried about sticking to our core values. And that makes an argument very different than trying to, one up you or ad hominem attack people or those sorts of things. K-Bonk has a question. You said your fodder tree spacing was too tight for your equipment. How much spacing are you looking now to have there?
Okay, so math would have told you the equipment is 6 feet wide, right? We did it at 9 feet thinking we were safe, but that didn't actually work that way, right? We took dirt out of this trench here and then put the dirt right on the downhill side of it. And then from the trench to the next trench was 9. So we actually lost about 2 feet right there.
Yeah.
So we spaced them at 9. Really, I should probably, and we did it to get as many as we could because we're going to plant the trees 6 inches apart. I had 1,000 trees coming. I wanted to be able to put as many trees as we could in. I should have done it at 12 feet because that would allow me to run the mower through and be able to turn the mower around without it falling in one of the trenches. Now, why would I run a mower? The trees are young, and when we put them in, they grew well. But as the weather got warmer, the grass started growing and the weeds started growing and actually outperformed the trees. So I needed to take that down so the trees would, I don't know that they'd be choked out, but they're little tiny saplings. They're a root. So that's what that's about.
Yeah, by next year, they will probably be out competing the grass fairly well as long as they're growing well.
Yeah, a lot of them that were not doing well took off, and a lot of the ones that you would have said, man, there's no way these are going to die, they're just gone. They're just not there anymore. So early this year, I bought more bare root trees, but the only thing available were 4-foot bare root trees. Well, 4-foot bare root trees have 4-foot roots on them, right? So I can't just drill a hole and put them in the hole, and you don't want to twist them up or cut them off. So we will do a lot of planting early next year. As soon as those trees are available, we'll bring them in and we'll plant a ton of stuff.
Yeah, are you going to get some from Nick this time?
If he has them.
Yeah.
If he has them. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's doing another set of fodder trees this year.
Yeah.
This person asked, what's your weather like in March? The weather in March, it can be cold or it cannot be cold. It could be dry or it could be rainy. But you could pretty much say that about almost any transition time in Tennessee. So the way it is right now is how it could be in March.
And where we sit here, the compound is kind of in a bowl. If it's overcast, it can be cold. If the sun comes out, it could easily raise 20 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things. It's an outdoor festival for Self-Reliance Festival in March. And that means bring layers. We do have ways to get out of the rain, but a raincoat can't hurt if it looks like it's going to rain. And we do our best to make it as pleasant as we can. It's worked well so far, though, wouldn't you say?
Yes. And you have access to the building. And the building has a ton of heat and a ton of air in it. Literally 5 tons, 5 multiple different units. 5 7-ton units. But you can also come to the compound and not get in mud and not go out in the fields also. We have full gravel everywhere. Yeah. I mean, you can come here and be comfortable.
Yeah, you just have to be willing to be comfortable. That's the only thing. But it's not hard.
It's not at all.
Yeah. So is there anybody you want to see in March, John, that you've been thinking of?
Nicole, I haven't even seen the list as to who's on the list yet.
Yeah. That's because I haven't sent it to you.
That's all right. That's all right. Like it's not even in my headspace right now.
Yeah. So it's all about the end of the year.
Yeah. No, just growing every month, every single month bigger than the last month.
Is that going well?
Yeah, it's a lot more effort, but yeah, it's working.
Have your new mentors been challenging you pretty hard, or how does that work? Because I know you've been.
Yes, in different ways they have. Yeah.
That's good. It's interesting how you're at a very different place in your growth than I am in mine. Like you're way ahead of me, and I'm just now transitioning into a new one where I'm like, man, I got to work harder again. So it's kind of get more focused, be more disciplined, say no to more things, but it's good. It's all good. So, what's the cost? Can it accommodate 5x10 trailer? Any discounts for first responders? The cost is not disclosed yet, but it's probably going to be very close to the cost last year, which was $75 for an attendee. And we don't have space for trailers on campus, but there are places off campus where you can park a camper. And a lot of people do. So more and more people are bringing campers to these things and being nearby. Have you noticed that?
I think that's because they can save money on the hotel and have it closer and then move all the time, right? I think a lot of people are kind of doing this event with the plans to go to TAC Response, after or before, as well as go to other locations afterwards, or just drive back and stop in multiple states on the way back home.
Yeah, I know TAC Response, I think, is planning to time a fighting pistol with this Self-Reliance Festival, so people can come and make a week of it, which would be pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. They're going to have a captive audience of 600 to 1,000 people that otherwise wouldn't be in this town.
Yep, that is how it is. Okay, any new exciting projects that you're thinking about, or are you just totally in winter mode and not thinking about it? Like, are we going to start talking about some of your other permaculture projects this year?
I don't even know what those are right now.
Yeah. Get more fodder trees in.
Yeah, the fodder trees for sure. How do we feed the animals, right? We put a lot of stuff in. We won't really know what they're going to do until come spring. After the winter, we'll see what these trees that were just put into all these swales. We'll see what makes it through the winter, what didn't. There was a lot of talk as to where the trees were coming from and what trees we had, and then we didn't have them. So I know a lot of that stuff came from, little box stores, I would assume.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. The damn dog in the back pulled up all of those big trees. The swale at the top looks way better than the swales in the back. There was a lot more time and effort and grooming put into that top swale.
Yeah.
And it looks completely different than the other two. It also gets more sun.
Yeah.
So we'll see coming out of that what that really looks like.
Did you put those trees back in that the dog ripped out, or?
Yes, and then he dug them back out again. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, dog. Yeah. Well, that's too bad because that's a lot of tree to lose.
Easy fix.
Yeah.
They're not going to perform. They're not going to do anything right now. As soon as we're able to get some, we'll pop them in there. We'll get the fencing put around, and they'll perform exactly the same in the back.
Yeah. So here I did the same thing. I sourced trees at box stores. The week after Self-Reliance Festival, I was buying trees because I was afraid they'd run out. And the roots on those things were so wrapped around each other when we pulled them out that I'd say I spent half of the time planting the trees had to do with separating out and trimming the roots so that the tree wouldn't die in 5 years.
Yeah.
And that part of the class here was probably the best part for me to do because I have done just like what other people do. You pull it out, you put it in the ground, right? No, you don't. Those trees are going to die because they're root bound, because they're almost always root bound at the box stores if that's your source.
Right.
So that piece for me was key. Are you going to do, I guess we might consider doing a tree trimming day at yours sometime. You probably don't need it this year, but next winter when they're dormant, those trees might want some pruning.
Right. I would need to see, I want to see the root trimming thing. Like, I don't have a clue. I always hear Jack talk about breaking up the roots. I've taken trees out of a pot, put them in a 5-gallon bucket of water, and they don't break apart. Like, it's
no, you have to like pull them apart.
Right. Which means you're ripping them off. So
yeah,
I guess they're pretty resilient.
Yeah. I was surprised. So I didn't realize you could trim the roots as far as you want, because you've got like the core roots that are coming out, and then you've got those little wispy roots that if you mess them up too much, they're not there to absorb water. But they pot these things in a very wood heavy potting mix.
In a very inexpensive potting mix.
And it sticks to those roots like glue. And so we ended up having them in buckets and just working our fingers through to pull out all of that. And then, you know, the primary tap roots, the big roots were winding around themselves and choking each other off. And that's what we ended up trimming out. So I would say 50% of the roots were cut out when we pruned them.
So with that root, right, if you have a 5-foot tree, you're going to have quite a root, or the main root.
Yeah, and it's all in a gallon pot.
So once you have them separated, do you want them to kind of come out, or do you want them to go not straight down though?
Yeah, so they're doing this. Like the thing that Nick did in the class I thought was the best is like you have a built-in tree diagram here. The roots do this, and they kind of go out, and then you have this knobby part that's a transition from the roots to the trunk of the tree. That is also supposed to be above the ground. So the soil levels here. But this also illustrates how the roots should be. They shouldn't all be doing this or any of those things. You want them out. So when we got them trimmed, they were cut back quite a bit, which means they're going to have to grow back out. They were spread out, and we had a soil dome up under there so that they could sort of stand up in the hole before we filled it in. But man, I learned so much about trimming roots that I had not learned. And I'm pretty good with plants, but man, it was very informative, because I think bare roots easier because it comes, you don't have all that mess to deal with. It's already trimmed. It's usually ready to go. And they're, the key there is if they dry out, they're dead.
Right.
And I've had a lot of failure with bare root plants I get from the wrong sources. So
man, I've bought expensive bare root trees, $100 a piece trees. There's not a single one alive on the property. Yeah. The stuff we've had, and we've neglected everything. We have never separated roots or pulled them out or anything. And you've seen all the trees on the property. Now, I mean, we've had trees do really good, like you said, for a year or two, and all of a sudden they die, and you pull them up and there's no roots. The roots have just sat there, and there's nothing there. But all the trees we have here, they're all from Lowe's, Home Depot, Tractor Supply, and most of them bought at the end of the season on clearance.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get some pretty good deals. I got $10 a tree trees for part of mine.
Yep. Awesome.
I also got $25 a tree trees to make sure I had some trees for the class. So yeah, that is what it is.
Awesome.
But I actually got that on video. I'll hook you up with the video for the root trimming when we get that produced. Because Rebecca came up and filmed the whole thing. So
right on.
She knows what she's doing, that lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, anything else you want to talk about before we flow into the rest of our Wednesday?
No, I'm about ready to go eat.
Yeah, food is good, John. Food is good. Well, guys, the Wednesday Live is going to be changing up next week. It's going to become the Tuesday Live.
Back to the Tuesday Live.
Back to the Tuesday Live, which is what it originally was. John had some commitments on Tuesdays that were getting in the way of it, and it looks like those commitments have gone away. So we'll be going back to streaming on Tuesday. I'm stoked about that. That works way better in my schedule because Wednesdays get really long with this. And I'm not sure who we're going to have on next week, John. I have some people out, some invitations out, but we'll see who wants to join us next week. And then the week after that, it'll be the first Tuesday Live with Jack again. So
perfect.
That's what we're flowing into as we go into December. If you guys are interested or haven't already figured out what I do, I have a podcast at livingfreeintennessee.com, and it's an audio podcast, so you can download it on any podcatcher, and I often will also live record them on YouTube. As well as I'm a craft roaster, and it is that time of year when maybe you want to give a consumables to somebody. So if you're thinking about Christmas gift ideas, check out hollowroast.com. We can gift wrap just about anything, and we have really super cool coffee mugs that just came out. So totally new design. It's a diner style mug, two-tone, in black or orange or black. That's over at hollowroast.com. John, you get to take us out today.
Nicole puts out thousands of hours of content. and she does not get paid for that content. So the way you can support her is buy coffee from her. You can also super chat here, and I don't see a single super chat in here. So buy coffee from Nicole because it's the best coffee, and it also allows her to do all these other things that she's doing. I have special operations equipment. I'm on YouTube I'm on here. I do a live video every night at 9 o'clock. I walk around my shop and show you all the product that we make and build, and then we talk about anything I want to talk about. So join us. SOE Tactical Gear is where you can buy product from, and then the website. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and we put up, I don't know, I think we're still putting up 3 and 5 videos a day on YouTube. So K-Bonk, thank you.
Thank you, K-Bonk.
That's it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week, guys.
See you guys.